a really delicious coffee, and that was the one I was speaking about earlier with the kind of nutmeg and spiced plum, and it's got a lovely flavor profile that's just so different, but so rich and satisfying when you have it. I say it's a cup of pure joy.
Welcome to the ninth episode of the 12 Days of Christmas Joy interview series. You are in the right place if you love food and need some inspiration and joy in your life. And today, I'm really excited to be joined by my lovely friend, Cara Brandi, Director of Peabury and Leaf. Hello, Cara.
Hello, Becky. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to take part.
Thank you for being here. So I know it's a really busy time of year, so thank you. So Cara is a coffee and tea retailer specialist based in Oxfordshire, and her passion is to help people brew great coffee and tea at home every day. For Cara, it's about making very high quality coffee and tea accessible through the careful selection of the products that she sells. Her background is in fundraising, but her true passion has always been coffee and the true joy it can bring at home every day. Traceability is at the heart of Cara's business, so you know exactly where your coffee and tea has come from and how it was produced, whether it's from a single estate, a regional community initiative, or as part of a cooperative supporting farmers, producers, and their local communities. Sustainability is also another of Cara's business's priorities, from fully recyclable packaging to choosing brewing tools with replaceable parts and reusable cups. Gosh, that's a mouthful. And she wants each product she sources to have longevity. So, in order to reduce landfill, Peabury and Leaf opened a pre-loved boutique as part of their online store. And here you can find a fabulous selection of antique, vintage, and modern cups and mugs and other coffee brewing and tea serving pieces, which aren't brand new, but brand new to you. So, Cara, it's so lovely to have you here today. When did you realise that you had this passion for good quality tea and coffee?
Gosh, that's a good question because I think it's just something that evolves over time. And in my career, I always loved a great cup of coffee to keep me going and a tea in the afternoon. And I would think about teas and infusions and exploring maybe a few different flavors. But the coffee, really, for me, it was lockdown. It was wanting to go out, wanting to treat ourselves to something special, and finding that when we would go out, everything had sugar in it. It was all sugar, sugar, sugar. And as I started looking into it and exploring coffee more, I realized that you can get fantastic flavor profiles in coffee and you don't need to add the sugar. And quite often people will say when they brew the coffees I sell, they don't add sugar to it because it has a natural perceived sweetness to it.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, yeah, this is something I'd love to delve more into and pick your brains. So, I think of is coffee, is it similar to wine, as in, with certain grapes, you get certain sorts of wines and the grapes have a characteristics and flavors. Is that the same with coffee beans? Is that
It can be. I think there are so many factors that go in to the finished flavor of a coffee. It can be climate, it can be terroir, so where it's grown, the growing conditions, the altitude. All of these things will have a factor in the finished flavor that ends up in your cup. Also, there's different processing methods. So you might have something that's done with a washed processed, or you might have something that's like a honey processed. So these are all going to create different flavors for different coffees.
Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. And then, I mean, sometimes I think coffee can be quite bitter. Is that not necessarily the case? Does that depend on the coffee bean or how it's processed? Or
Yes, I think as well that it's processing, but also brewing. So when you're brewing coffee, you don't really want that bitterness. Now that could come, maybe it's roasted very dark, and so you might get some bitterness from that. But also, if you're extracting the solubles in the coffee and getting them into your cup, there's only a certain percentage that are that ideal flavor point of what you want in the cup. If you go beyond it, then you're getting the bitterness in your cup. So it could be that you're brewing your coffee maybe slightly too long and just shorten the time a little bit, and you might find that that bitterness goes.
okay, interesting. So if I want to, how would one go about choosing, I don't know, like a good coffee, or does that just, is that a really personal thing? Does it just really depend on what you like?
It is very personal. I have people who come looking for strong, fruity flavors that are naturally processed coffees. Maybe they come from Peru or Rwanda, and they like that high perceived sweetness, that high acidity. So, they might go looking for particular regions or particular processing styles. I have other people who like the sort of chocolatey, nutty, toasted nuts flavors that you might find in a coffee from Brazil. Um, yeah, so it is different for everyone. And I think just try lots of coffees. You'll find the one you love.
That's a really good advice, I think. Yeah, try and think, oh yes, I like this about that coffee, but maybe I'd like it, I don't know, something else. Or and on your, because on your website, which we'll put underneath the video here so people can look up, um, you have a lot of different sorts of coffee on there, and I'm imagining that you give people all of this information so they can make the right choice.
Yes. Yeah, so we have information about the roast level, the flavor profile, the processing, so that you can learn a bit about the coffee and then also the traceability, the story. You want to know where has that coffee come from? What's the story behind it? And who is benefiting from your purchase?
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think, yeah, I think we're more and more interested in that now, aren't we? I know I am. Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And would you say, so there's um different sorts of coffees, like for a breakfast coffee versus something you might have after dinner? Was there
Oh, yes. It's something often I'll put a question out on social media about this just to see what people come back with and whether it's something you think about. And I think often people find a flavor of coffee they like and they stick with it. But actually, you can pair coffee with food, and there's coffees that go really well with cake. So I have a Mexican coffee at the moment that's like perfect for Christmas cakes. It's spiced with nutmeg spice flavor profile. It's sweet dried plums. So it's got all the lovely characteristics that are going to pair beautifully with a slice of Christmas cake with dried fruits, that kind of thing. But I have other coffees that have a more citrus and herbal flavor profile. So our Guatemalan coffee is very sophisticated on the palate, and you're going to have notes that will pair really nicely, almost as a digestivo, so something after a meal. Lovely with savory flavors, lovely with cheese after a meal. Just a really nice combination to complement
Oh, so that
various
would be really,
flavors.
what would be lovely is if you could let us know, and then I'll put them under the video here, and we could have little, after, the suggestions, obviously, if people wanted
Yes.
to try them out and see what they think, and let us know in the comments under the video if they agree with your
Yes. Absolutely. And coffee is something that's nice to try. When people buy products from us, we often put a sample of coffee in to give them not only so they can use the equipment right away, but also so that they can try some of the flavors. Because I think it's nice to try it before you commit to purchasing a larger bag of coffee. So if people do want samples and they want to give something a go, then by all means, email. There's a contact form on the website. Use it. Let us know and we can send you a sample.
Oh, how lovely. Oh, how wonderful. How nice. Now, as it is nearly Christmas, we're in December.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Already?
And, and we're starting to think about our Christmas gift shopping. Do you have any advice? If you've got a friend or a family member that you want to buy a present for, and you know that they're really into coffee, or you think that this would be something they would love, what would be the one thing that you might buy a budding coffee enthusiast?
Well, I would say if it's somebody starting on their coffee journey, certainly you cannot go wrong with an AeroPress. And it is hands down our bestseller. Um,
Okay, okay.
Simple, easy to use. They're not expensive. If a part breaks or gets damaged, it can be replaced. So they have a warranty with them. And I think it brews delicious coffee. So a good all-rounder, something you can carry with you, no electricity required.
Oh,
And
amazing. What a good idea. And
good.
maybe if you fancied just a little packet of coffee as a taster, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah, we always enclose coffee with it, just so
Oh.
people can get started. They don't have to wait to go to the shop. You get your lovely gift and you think, oh, tomorrow I'll try it. On Christmas Day, you want to try it right away.
Oh, how wonderful. And you've been very kind to give all of our listeners and everybody who watches this a discount code for 10% off, which is shop
Yes.
10. So again, we'll put that under the video so that people you don't need to remember it. It's all there for you. So thank you so much. That's fabulous. And now I think, am I right in thinking that you're also starting to work on a specialty tea range? Is that right?
Yes. So over the past couple of years, I've been training first as a tea champion, and now I am training as a tea sommelier. And I have my exam to do and a little bit more preparation. But in the meantime, I'm looking at sourcing teas and interesting flavors and flavor combinations that I think people might enjoy. So, yes, in 2025, you can watch out. We'll have some great specialty teas on offer.
Oh, fabulous. Amazing. Because I think tea is similar to coffee, isn't it? In the way, it's how it's processed and how you brew it, and you can have all sorts of different
Yeah.
flavors and that sort of thing, can't you?
Yes, yes. And I have been exploring some really interesting flavors. Just things you might not expect when you sip a cup of tea and you get the taste of kind of sweet apple crumble or apricots. So just to bring some interesting flavors into the mix and to give people choice when they're looking at teas.
Yeah. Oh, how lovely. And now a question I probably should have asked you before I started talking to you about tea, but I didn't. So I would love to know what your favorite coffee is that you have.
Ooh, at the moment, I have to say I flip between two. I really love the Colombian coffee we sell, which is sort of dark chocolate notes and red berries. It's a medium roast and it's just lovely. First thing in the morning, I use it in a filter. I put it in a French press or I will use it in my espresso machine, and it just makes delicious coffee, perfect in the morning, in the afternoon. But another good all-rounder is the Mexican Louis Ordonez, and that is a really delicious coffee. And that was the one I was speaking about earlier with the kind of nutmeg and spiced plum. And, it's got a lovely flavor profile that's just so different, but so rich and satisfying when you have it. I say it's a cup of pure joy.
Oh, how lovely. And isn't it just about, taking those little moments every day to get those joyful, moments? I mean, that's just
Yes,
lovely.
yes, that's it.
And I thought some people might like decaffeinated. Do you do that or?
I do. In fact, we have completely sold out of our decaf and we have been sourcing another. So very soon we will be having a new Colombian decaf. And they're all naturally processed, so no chemicals used. It's either a
Amazing.
washed process so that it's decaffeinated with water. I think the one that we're bringing in, it's done with the sugar processing. And so, yes, it will be a really beautiful, interesting coffee. But decafs, you don't need to compromise on flavor with a really good, high quality specialty decaf. And I think that's nice. If you're removing caffeine, why should you compromise on flavor?
Oh, that's kind of reassuring, actually. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, because you still want that lovely coffee experience, don't you?
You do, absolutely. You really, you want to have that same level of joy that you're getting from a cup of coffee with caffeine. It's just a different flavor profile, but no less complex. You're not compromising on anything.
Oh, that's amazing. It all sounds so good, Cara. So now I love eating and cooking, and especially at Christmas time, just I love seasonal food. And so I was wondering, what's your favorite Christmas recipe?
I have to say, as I was doing my training for coffee tea, I also did some culinary training alongside. And one of the recipes is now our Christmas staple. And I make it every year. And it's just, you can't go wrong with it. It is a clementine and almond cake, and it is gluten free. You can take all those satsumas and clementines that are left in the bowl when everyone goes to the chocolate, and you just boil them down. Everything goes in, you puree it up, pour it in a pan, and it bakes up to a delicious moist cake. And it's perfect with a cup of coffee or tea.
Oh, how lovely. What a lovely note to finish on. So, Cara, thank you so much for being here and providing so much inspiration. I feel like I need a lovely cup of coffee and a piece of cake now. So,
Brilliant.
have a lovely Christmas. Have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you so much for having me, Becky. Have a lovely Christmas too.
Thank you.